Here we go. Good old Anne. She gets everything right. Anne Serkey.
I saw it's A-N-E. M Serkey.
No, it's Anne Serkey. She gets everything right. Wow. Sorry, YouTube. This is not my quickest class. I'm just saying that right now. All right, you know what? I'm willing to bet that on your quest later on today, the first 3 or 4 questions are going to be like number 1. In fact, I'll probably give you 2 numbers that are big, 2 numbers that are small decimals, and I'll ask you to write them in scientific notation. And of those 4 numbers, at least 2 will be bigger than you can type in your calculator, so you can't just cheat and have the software do it for you. So 5.5 times 10 to the 4th, yes? I'm going to be fussy this time, all or nothing. 4.2 times 10 to the negative 2. 3.64 times 10 to the negative. I always put the negative because certainly I forgot to put that if I don't put it in right away because I'm so busy counting. I forget to put the negative exponent part in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 5? And then 1.236 times 10 to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. By the way, if you haven't finished the take-home quiz, and sometimes kids haven't because they're meatheads, dumb would be copying it out on the fly and handing it in and thinking that's what I'm looking for. At least some learning might occur if you wait till later on and you try it. Now, normally I would say, try it the night before your test or your quiz, but since your test is later on this block, that won't work quite as well, but don't just be a meathead and copy stuff out. Perform the following operations on your calculator. Use the correct number of sig figs and express your answer in scientific notation. I read the instructions carefully. We're multiplying. Deegan, for multiplying, we count sig figs. It's 2 sig figs, 2 sig figs. I'm going to go to 2 sig figs. We never round off ahead of time. I always type in exactly what they gave me. Oh, my scientific notation button didn't go. Try that again. Notice, Annika, if I use my scientific notation button, do I need to press the times sign? No. If you do, you'll accidentally tell the software to not attach this 10 to the negative 4 to the 7.1, and you'll get weird stuff. So if you ever get all the right digits, but your power of 10 is wrong, you've done something wonky in how you've entered it, because the digits will still match, but you'll have the wrong 10 to them. Times 3.6. 10 to the negative 7. I said 2 sig figs, so 2.5. No, not 2.5. What's next to this 5? So 2.6 times 10 to the negative 10. All or nothing. I think question number 2 on your quest is like this. I'm going to give you a couple of questions involving some scientific notation. You know what? Probably 1 multiply and 1 divide. 3 sig figs. 2 sig figs. I guess I'm going to go to 2 sig figs. 1.42 scientific notation. Negative 5 divided by 4.3 scientific notation. Negative 15. Okay, I'll have to convert this to scientific notation. Definitely 3.3. Is that right so far, or did I make a typo? If I make a typo or we get something wrong, holler, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Is it 3.3 times 10 to the 9? Yep, all or nothing. Adding and subtracting. Deegan, do I count the number of sig figs? I count the number of decimal places. Now here's the problem. In scientific notation, I can't really see the number of decimal places unless I'm really good at interpreting the powers of 10. I gotta be honest, I can visualize each of these numbers in my head in standard notation without writing anything down, and I could probably do this all on a calculator without writing anything down. Is this a quiz? I'll show my work. Because why make a dumb mistake if I can avoid it? So over here, I'm gonna write this as 0.0060, and I'm going to write this as 0.00035. Now you'll notice I tucked that 0 on the 6 because there is a 0 right there. How many decimal places is this bottom one? 5. How many decimal places is this top one? 4. How many decimal places am I going to go to in my final answer? 4 decimal places. I'll make a little note of that somewhere because my brain gets befuzzled sometimes. Now I'll go to my calculator and I can either type in the scientific notation version or I can type in that one there. It's plus 0.0035. So I get that. I'm going to go to 4 decimal places. Oh, I missed a 0. That seems wrong to me. This is the other reason I told you to get calculators with back arrows, because you will make typos. You'll look at your answer, this can't be right. It's so much nicer if you just backspace and edit. It's worth finding out where your delete and where your insert keys are. You all have them. If you don't know, I can help you as the year progresses. Actually, I get 0.00635, which I could have done in my head because they're all nicely lined up. How many decimal places? So this 3, is this 3 going to stay a 3 or become a 4? So first of all, it's going to be 0.0064, which is final answer, 6.4 times 10 to the negative 3, all or nothing. There's a lot of steps there. Now, that's a tricky question, but I'm also going to say, did I do anything new or unusual? I just went really meticulous because I wasn't quite sure how to handle it. Well, fine, I'll convert everything to standard notation. Do it the long way. Works. Convert, 1 mark each. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, I think. 3 seconds to milliseconds. Write down what they gave me. I want seconds to cancel. I want milliseconds left. Milli is 10 to the negative 3. Where does the 10 to the negative 3 go? Where the milli isn't, which in this case is on the bottom. And because it's on the bottom, that means divide. This method takes care of me having to ask, do I multiply or do I divide? The method tells me, which I kind of like. So it's going to be 3 divided by 10 to the negative 3, which is 3,000. Did I say write this in scientific notation in my instructions at all? Means I don't care. Is it more work to write 3,000 or is it more work to write 3 times 10 to the 3? You know what? It's less work to write 3,000. I'm going to write it in standard notation. Units, if you forgot the units, half mark off. Ooh, sorry? Oh, it's milliseconds. If you got the wrong units, half mark off as well. Mr. Duke lost a half mark. I never make mistakes. I'm pretty sure on your quest, top of the right front page on the right column, which I think is probably going to be question 3 or 4. This is going to be really similar to the front page, I'm pretty sure. There's going to be 4 or 5 unit conversion questions. So I'll probably start out with a 1-step, maybe a second 1-step, and then I'll have a couple of 2-step questions. So here's a 2-step, 25 kilograms. Want to get rid of kilograms? Well, that's going to be 10 to the 3rd. Then I want to get rid of grams and bring in milligrams, that's 10 to the negative 3rd. Each time I put the 10 to the where it's not. Yes? You not only are you allowed to, you must have it. That's why I gave it to you. Yes. That's what you bring to every quiz and every test. Yes. If you forget your formula sheet, there is a good chance that I'll mock you mercilessly while you're writing the test. If you forget your calculator or your formula sheet, I'll probably make you write it, but I'll stand next to you laughing evilly while you write it because that's how I roll. I'm that childish. You're laughing. That wasn't a joke. I got a 2, 5, and then 6 zeros. If you wrote a 2, 5, and then 6 zeros, I'll give you full marks. Less work to write this in scientific notation. So I'm going to write it as 2.5 times 10 to the 7th milligrams. 1 year into seconds. I think we did this in the homework, but I can't remember the answer. Oh, you know why? I didn't waste my time remembering the answer. That's okay. So 1 year. I want years to cancel. I can go to days. Why do I avoid weeks, by the way? It's not exactly 52. We'd be introducing error. Okay, and this technically is not exactly 365. We have the leap year thing, but we've defined it as 365, so I know that that value is legitimate to use. It's also, I mean, I could use months, except then I would go from months to days, and there's not exactly 30 days in every month. There's 31 in some. So days to hours to... Somebody at the door? Oh, I had hope briefly. Okay, so 1 year, 365 days. So I'll times by 365. Days to hours, 24 hours. And then I remember George's shortcut. It was 3,600 seconds is 1 hour. And now I go, oh yeah, it's going to be 365 times 24 times 3,600. I probably could have figured that out on my own, okay, except don't need to memorize these. I can just build a chain. 365 times 24 times 3,600. Do you get 31536 and then 3 zeros? And I guess I'll write that all. I could also write it in scientific notation. You know what? I'm going to write 31536 and 3 zeros. So every year, oh yeah, now I remember. I think I told you. It's roughly 31.5 million seconds. Turn the page. Is it turn the page? No, next page over. Okay. Perform the indicated operations. We're multiplying. Did it say scientific notation in the answer? Did it tell me right? No, then I don't care. 3 sig figs, 2 sig figs. I'm going to go to 2. 1.25 times 0.5. I really don't need to put the 0.50 on my calculator. It's not going to change anything. 2 sig figs, 0.63. All or nothing. 3 sig figs, 4 sig figs. 202. By the way, what if by a fluke this had worked out to 200? How would I have shown 3 sig figs? Yes, okay. I'm almost certain I made one of those on your quest work out to something like this, where you have to realize, oh, I can't just write out, I'm going to have to put the decimal in there to indicate this is meant to be 3. Is that all right? Yeah. 3 sig figs, 4 sig figs. I'm going to go to 3 sig figs, 4.37, scientific notation button 3, divided by 0.00856. I'm going to put the 0. 3 sig figs, so I guess 5.11 times 10 to the, if I go scientific notation. So you could either write 511000. Did I make a typo? That's right. Or here I probably would go 5.11 times 10 to the 5th, because it's, I don't know, easier to see that I got the number of sig figs right. 5 sig figs. No. We're adding and subtracting. Deegan, do I count sig figs? No. Decimal places. 3 decimal places. By the way, what if I had given you just that? How many decimal places would you go to? None. What if I had given you that? How many decimal places would you go to? Sort of minus what, like to the tens place and then stop. Don't know if I gave you one of those on the quest or not. Anyways, 3 decimal places, 5 decimal places. I'm going to go to round to 3 decimal places. 38.002 plus 0.12378. 38.126. Two decimal places, 1 decimal place. I'm going to go to 1 decimal place. 512.06 minus 65.2. What did I say? 1 decimal place, so 446.9. I will give you some kind of long fraction chain, I think. The reason I'm saying I think, I might have replaced it last year with a different question, and I can't remember, but here is a fraction chain. I'm going to write down what they gave me. 48 parrots. I'll use P for parrots. Parrots is apparently 1 zebra, 5 parrots. And then I can get zebras to cancel, and they can become monkeys. 1 zebra is 8 monkeys. And then I can get monkeys to cancel, and become gorillas. One gorilla is 6 monkeys, and then I can get gorillas to cancel and lions to show up, and apparently 2 lions or 5 gorillas. Multiply by everything on the top, divide by everything on the bottom. So 48 times 8 times 2. Sorry? I know. Divided by 5, divided by 6, divided by 5. I just did the whole top in a row and then divided by... I could have used brackets and stuff as well, but you know what? Times by the top, divide by the bottom. I could have put the top in brackets and the bottom in brackets, but I'm lazy. Do you get 5.12? Which doesn't make much sense, because how can you have 0.12 of a lion, but whatever. If you got that, 3 out of 3. If you did not, I would give you 1 mark if you wrote down what they gave you as your first step, because that's how I've taught you. I would give you 1 mark if you tried to build a fraction chain, even if you did so unsuccessfully. If you tried using my method, I would say, good, you're buying into what I'm teaching. So you could get 2 out of 3, but then 1 mark for the answer. Absolute error. It's going to be the absolute value of 7.6 minus 8, or 8 minus 7.6. You're always going to make it positive, and so I told you, on your calculator, just go bigger minus smaller, because 5 take away 3, 2, 2 take away 5, 5 take away 2, 5 take away 3 is 2, 3 take away 5 is negative 2, but they're both 2 away from 0. So you get the same magnitude. So I went 8 minus 7.6, and I could have done that in my head. 0.4, I didn't mention anything about sig figs, so who cares? Calculate the percentage error. It's going to be 0.4 divided by the correct value, 7.6 times 100. You get 5.26, 5.263. I didn't give you clear instructions here. I tend to go to 1 decimal place for percentages, so 5.3%. Is that right? Okay. Can you give yourself a lovely score out of 20? Can you actually make sure you write a score in there this time, Aiden? Yes? You forgot to last time. Pause.